lectures on the topic of chromatography or gas chromatography. Myself, Dr. Rajiv Gupta from Srimati M.D. Patel Institute of Physical Science and Research, Anand. The course name is BSc Chemistry. The semester is 5th semester. The subject is analytical chemistry, which has its subject code US05 CCHE24. The unit number is 3. Chromatography second. Its first topic is gas chromatography. Today I am going to talk about a part of instrumentation which is carrier gas. Many components we have seen in gas chromatography instrumentation or apparatus, which were carrier gas flow regulators, sample injectors, columns, detectors, etc. So, first of all, we are considering the carrier gas component, which is used in gas chromatography analysis instrument. The main purpose of a carrier gas is to carry the sample through the column. Means sample which is to analyze is present in very low amount, generally in micrograms. So itself sample could not go through the column. Some carrier is required which carries this sample and passes it through the column. So this carrier is a carrier gas. So it carries this sample through the column in its vapor form or gas form. Secondarily, what is the main purpose of this carrier gas? That it provides a suitable matrix for the detector, because we are analyzing this sample, which type of components are present in this sample as well as their quantities. So these detectors detect the quality and quantity of the sample. So this carrier gas provides a suitable matrix which is friendly to this detector. Means this detector may detect or may not detect. Means during the sample detection, this carrier gas does not create any interference, does not create any problem during analysis in detector. So these are the two purposes for carrying the sample and also providing the suitable matrix inside detector for the sample. This is the mobile phase. Obviously it is a mobile phase because it passes through column inside the instrument as gas phase, and should be pure gas so as not to react with the column or analyte. So this is the first property that should present in a gas, which is its inert nature, where these gas molecules should not react with the sample or analyte or with the components of column. Okay, so that gas should be that type gas we should choose, that it not react, because the temperature inside the instrument, means temperature of column, should be high to attain the sample in its gas phase. So at this high temperature that depending on the boiling point of that sample components, maybe 100 degrees Celsius, 150 degrees Celsius or 200 degrees Celsius. On that temperature, these carrier gas should not react with the column components or analyte. So Some inert gases usually chosen as helium, argon, nitrogen or hydrogen. See, these are inert gases, and hydrogen itself work as inert gas in the presence of oxygen. Okay, there should not oxygen should not present, means these gases should be in their pure form. Okay, in pure form H2 gas may not react with these type of components. So that depending on the nature of sample we choose the carrier gas. Choice will depend on the type of detector also. Okay, so which type of detector we are using, that depends on sample. So overall the whole instrument is set like this, that the sample will be detect very precisely, very accurately, without any damage inside the instrument. Helium and hydrogen give better resolution. Okay, helium and hydrogen gases, which are lightest gases, very light gases, these are very inert gases, very light gases, these give better resolution than N2. Okay, what is this, what is the meaning of this line, we will see in further slides. The nitrogen gas provides somewhat less resolution compared to these helium hydrogen gas. Resolution means separation of various components, means if we want better resolution, means we want a better separation of the components of sample. Smaller plate height, that is the again a new thing. Smaller plate height means inside the column we can, when the sample travels inside the column, we imaginarily or hypothetically can divide that traveling molecules of sample into plates. That plates will be perpendicular to that column flow, that column length, that column length, the these plates, hypothetical plates, will be perpendicular to, or we can say just like a transfer section type to that column. Pressure is also important, and expected system comes with the regulators. We can increase or decrease the pressures using the flow regulators of carrier gas. Can you find where the GC equations that are depend on the pressure? So there are some GC equations that shows the pressure effect in separation, column separations. This is the mobile phase. What is mobile phase? Actually these cylinders which are filled with either nitrogen, hydrogen, argon, helium, these type of cylinders will be used which carry these type of which contains these type of carrier gases, and these cylinders are directly attached to this instrument assembly. Now what are the requirements of a carrier gas? First requirement, as we have already considered, that it should be inert, means it should not react with any component of the instrument and with sample. Okay, as we know that in this gas chromatography, this is a just type of physical method where only partition takes place inside the column, no chemical reaction takes place, so there should no chemical reaction throughout the experiment. Suitable for the detector. Okay, high purity means there is no other type of gas should be present, no moisture, no other thing should present in this carrier gas. Easily available means carrier gas should be easily preparative, uh, like nitrogen, as we see here, this should be cheap. Nitrogen gas is very cheap compared to helium or argon, other inert gases, so it should be cheap, means depending on the experiment we design this experiment like this. We we could apply these type of cheap low cost carrier gases, should not cause any risk of fire. As we see that hydrogen gas could also be used, H2 gas could also be used as a Carrier gas, so these type of, because we know that H2 gas, hydrogen gas, is an explosive gas in presence of oxygen. So the gas should be used like this, that it should not cause any risk of fire. Okay, so the hydrogen gas or instrument setup we prepare like this, that it should be risk free, should give rest best column performance, means it should not damage column any type. Now this is the somewhat more details about carrier gas. The cylinder gas tank, which I've shown earlier, is fitted with a pressure controller to control the pressure of gas. Okay, that controls the flow of gas. A pressure gauge that indicates the pressure. A molecular sieves to transfer filtered dry gas, and a flow regulator to ensure a constant rate of flow of mobile phase to the column. So these flow regulators which controls the pressure or flow of this carrier gas inside the column. Also, if we are not sure that the gas is completely pure, means it is moisture free or not, then we could use these type of molecular sieves type assembly in between these flow of carrier gas to transfer filtered dry gas, means these molecular sieves absorb somewhat that moisture present in this gas, and filtered it and gives as a dry gas. So it should meet the following criteria: should be chemically inert, as we have learned earlier, should be cheap and readily available, should be high quality, and should be high quality means that impurity is not should not present in this, and not cause any fire accident. These fire accident could be caused when we use the somewhat explosive gases like hydrogen. Should give best positive possible results, means the obtained results should be any interference free, should not create any interference during detection, and should be suitable for sample analyzed and for the detector, means according to sample we choose a suitable carrier gas. If sample is changed, then it may be possible that we have to change the carrier gas. Hydrogen, helium, nitrogen and carbon dioxide are commonly used. These are the common used gases in this experiment. Okay. Hydrogen has low density and better thermal conductivity. These are the properties shown for different type of gases. Hydrogen has low density, as we know it is very light gas, and better thermal conductivity. These thermal conductivity means if a gas present in a chamber, a heated chamber, then throughout the chamber, the temperature of gas is constant or same. That it means that gas contains high thermal conductivity. If a gas contains low thermal conductivity, then the temperature could be different inside the chamber. Okay, however, it reacts with unsaturated compounds and is inflammable, explosive in nature. So this is the advantage, means it is low density gas as has high thermal conductivity. But these are some demerits of using hydrogen gas as carrier gas, because hydrogen gas reacts with unsaturated compounds. Unsaturated compounds means alkenes which contains pi bonds. So these can react with these compounds and make these saturated compound, convert these into saturated compounds, though there could be a type of chemical reaction takes place inside the column at elevated temperatures. So due to higher thermal conductivity, this gas is better for use as carrier gas, because we know that as the gas moves inside the column, then the gas molecules which are in contact, a very contact with column surface, that molecules of carrier gas will contain high temperature, but inside the lumen, in between column, there could be a temperature difference of gas compared to that gas which is traveling, or just which is just in contact with the surface of the column. So due to this higher thermal conductivity throughout the whole space which covers by this carrier gas, throughout the space the temperature will be same, but in case of some other gases there could be a difference. So this thermal conductivity is a very good property of this hydrogen light gas. Nitrogen is inexpensive, means it is very low cost and cheap gas, but it gives reduced sensitivity. Okay, its sensitivity is reduced, means nitrogen also shows lesser thermal conductivity compared to hydrogen or helium gases. So it shows reduced sensitivity during detection. Helium is the most preferred gas. Why helium is the most preferred gas? Because helium's thermal conductivity is very similar to hydrogen. Also it is very low dense gas. Also it does not react with any organic molecule or any sample even at elevated temperature, because it is completely inert gas. Okay, so it does not react with sample or other parts of the instrument, and also it has high thermal conductivity and low density, so it is the best gas. But helium is very costly. Okay, very costly, so very expensive, so its use is limited. Inlet pressure ranges from 10 to 50 psi, flow rate this and this. These are these normal range are shown of carrier gas flow. Okay, packed columns and tubular columns. There are two types of columns generally used in gas chromatography. These two types of columns we will discuss in the further lectures. Points to remember for carrier gas: oxygen and water impurities can chemically attack the liquid phase of the column and destroy it. See, we are learning GLC, gas liquid chromatography, where the impurities, where the stationary phase is a liquid phase, means a non-volatile organic liquid is coated over a solid support, that is work as a stationary phase. So if any oxygen or water impurities are present in carrier gas or sample or whatever, or sample, that at elevated temperature in column, these impurities can attack or can react with liquid phase of the column and can destroy it at elevated temperature. So the used carrier gas and used sample, even sample, should be oxygen and water free. Okay, trace of water can absorb the column contaminants and produce high detector background or ghost peaks. This water which can absorb the column contaminants. Okay, some column contaminants which generally created or when the experiment runs, due to this absorption of these contaminants in water molecules, and when these contaminants goes with this trace water inside the detector, then this detector detects these contaminants and give other peaks, that are other peaks which are not the peaks of sample. Trace hydrocarbons can cause high detector background with FIDs and limit detectability. Now the choice of carrier gas. These are the some well known carrier gases which are used in gas chromatography instrumentation. First, hydrogen. Advantages and disadvantages are tabulated here. First, hydrogen is a cheap gas, low cost gas, gives the most time efficient separation. Time efficient separation means it takes lesser time for analysis. Okay, it required lesser time for analysis because it is very thermally conductive gas and very low dense gas. Still very efficient as high gas velocities, means 60 centimeter per second flow rate, 60 centimeter per second. At even this high gas velocity, it is more efficient. Means it efficiently separates helps to separate different components of sample. Now this is the disadvantage of hydrogen. The first main disadvantage is it is an explosive gas. Means if somewhat air or O2 gas mixed with this hydrogen, then it becomes a it forms a explosive mixture, and this explosive mixture if goes inside the column, which generally present at an elevated temperature, then it could explode the some part of instrument or uh, somewhat damage the instrument. Some industries in some countries have regulated against the use of hydrogen. Means some countries, some industries does not use hydrogen gas. Okay, due to this disadvantage. It is a reductive gas, as I said earlier. If there is a unsaturated compound is present in the sample, in our sample analyte, in our analyte, then that sample component which has unsaturation could react with this hydrogen. Okay, also we know that the column, inside the column, that somewhat uh, liquid phase or somewhat that solid particles may work as a catalyst also there. Okay, so these hydrogen could readily react with these unsaturated compounds. Now helium, very inert gas, not react with analyte. Okay, this is the advantage of this gas. Gives a very time efficient separation because its property is just like hydrogen, very light gas, very thermally conductive gas. Also it is not flammable because hydrogen is flammable, but it is not flammable, so it is more advanced than hydrogen gas. Now the disadvantage is, the major disadvantage is it is very expensive. Helium gas is very expensive. To prepare this gas, uh, uh, it is very cost is used for this. A non replenishable resource, a non replenishable resource. Now nitrogen, it is a cheap gas compared to these both, very inert, will not react with analytes. Okay, it is also an inert gas and does not react with sample. Also it is not flammable, so it is a very good gas because it is cheap, also very inert and not flammable, so it has somewhat more advantage on these. But a disadvantage is that very slow velocity to achieve good efficiency. Its velocity inside the column is slow, so we don't get good efficiency in the separation of organic compounds, so it requires some more time. So the experiment requires more time to separate these things. Now it also, because it also contains uh, less thermal conductivity, so it is also a reason for this less efficiency. Narrow range for maximum efficiency. Okay, now the other component of this carrier gas are where we have to regulate the flow of carrier gas, or we can control the pressure of carrier gas inside the instrument. So there are some type of regulators are used, or flow meters has been used to regulate the flow of these carrier gas. So what are the flow regulators? to deliver the gas with uniform pressure or flow rate. This flow regulator controls the pressure and flow rate of the gas, means higher volume of gas is going inside the column within same time, or lesser volume of gas is going inside the column. So this regulates this pressure and flow rate. And the second thing is flow meter, which shows this flow rate to measure the flow rate of carrier gas. So regulator controls this, and this measures the rate of this gas, flow rate of gas. Okay, so these two type of instruments are combinedly assembled at the same side to see the flow of carrier gas inside the column. Now types of flow meters are that are rotameters and soap bubble flow meter. There are two types of flow meters which are generally used in this gas chromatography instrumentation. There are rotameters and soap bubble flow meter. So first we see what is rotameter. These rotameters, a type of tube we can see here, where inside this tube a rotatory type of element is present, where the gas flows from this downside to upside. Due to this gas flow, this rotating device moves or float inside this tube. Okay, inside this tube. And as this flow increase or decrease, this floating tube uh, uh, changes its position, and this change position we can record or we can see on this meter. Okay, so see this is the simple rotameter. Now second is soap bubble meter. In soap bubble meter, in a tube a soap solution is filled. Okay, a soap solution will be filled, and at this downside the flow of carrier gas, the carrier gas flows and moves in this upside, and then goes to the outlet. And when this gas, carrier gas, moves in this direction, the aqueous solution of soap or detergent which is filled in this bubble, when comes into contact with this carrier gas, forms a type of bubbles or layers, soap layers inside this tube. Okay, inside this tube. Then as the gas is flowing upside, these bubbles or these soap layers moves faster at this upside, and this tube is marked, already graduated, already marked, and we may see the flow by measuring the speed. By this we can measure the length of this tube and also the time lapse when this bubble goes from this side to this side. So we can measure the speed by applying a formula like distance upon time, where we can measure the velocity of this carrier gas. Okay, so soap bubble formed indicates the flow rates. Glass tube with an inlet tube at the bottom. This is the inlet tube which is attached at bottom of this glass tube. A rubber bulb, this rubber bulb which stores a soap solution. Okay, this a soap or detergent solution. When the bubble is gently pressed of soap solution, when the bubble is gently pressed of the soap solution is converted into a bubble by the pressure of a carrier gas and travels this upside, and we can measure the speed by this traveling distance and traveling time. Here, a actual soap bubble meter is shown in this instrumentation. This is the soap bubble meter, where from this side the carrier gas leaves the column. Okay, actually this is attached at the outlet side of the column, where the carrier gas flows without the sample remains or left inside the column, inside the this detecting assembly or column, and only carrier gas moves outward. The tubing is connected here only when the adjusting the flow rate. Okay, when we want to see the flow rate, so we can adjust this tube before starting the experiment, actual experiment, where the sample have to be injected. When sample is injected into the sample injection chamber, then actual experiment starts. But after starting this experiment, we makes flow of carrier gas throughout the instrument in this path to clear the instrument for the experiment, or to prepare the instrument initially for the experiment. So during that time we attach this type of assembly to this column, and see the flow of, or controls the flow of carrier gas. So this is the bubble soap bubble meter, where here in this white rubber bubble the soap solution is filled. Okay, a soap solution is filled, and when this carrier gas flow from this side, soap solution filled till here, not this upside, till here. When this soap bubble comes into contact, when this carrier gas comes into contact with this soap solution, then it makes a float, type of bubbles here, and these bubbles travel and this upside. Okay, bubble traveling there upside, and we can measure the time and distance is also shown here, graduated type cylindrical object here. So from this side to this side we can measure the time interval of this traveling bubble. Okay, soap solution bubble, and we can calculate the speed of that carrier gas, because as the carrier gas speeds carrier gas speed increases, then this uh, upgoing traveling bubble speed also increases. So this is the simple setup of this uh, bubble gas meter, bubble soap bubble meter, where we can measure the speed of flowing of carrier gas inside the column. So very thank you for listening the lecture. Please subscribe the channel.